First story of the day is just Caravan updates. I'm going to make this quick because I already have two viral videos about the Caravan. I'm exposing kind of the propaganda pictures that the media has used and questioning this picture. I have another one about all the angles of the Caravan and what they're not talking about. So just a few updates. I know Fox News and a few others did reports about it came from Tijuana health officials, so it's not like Fox made up a conspiracy theory. They talked to Tijuana officials, and there's a lot of sick people. I think 1/3 of the people are sick. There's a hepatitis breakout. 3, 4, or 5 of them have HIV/AIDS. A few of them have tuberculosis. There's a chicken pox, and it's literally a humanitarian crisis. It's absolutely horrible. That there's people camping out there. I really do want to help these people, and in general. But there's something I have to say, and I'm going to move on quickly because I've already talked about the Caravan so much. What I don't understand is a lot of politicians and celebrities in my state, California, they're just begging for these people to come here. But what weirds me out is if you walk anywhere in Los Angeles, pretty much anywhere, unless you live up in the hills like the celebrities, all you see is dirt and trash and homeless people everywhere. They're invading. I don't want to say invading, but they're taking over downtown. You go to Skid Row, it's literally like 25 blocks of like thousands of tents. It's insane. It's literally like a tent zombie world of people who are living on the street. So why in the world? I know these people use women and children and say that they're so great people. You have the #1 poverty in the United States in California. #1 in poverty. Literally, look at the rates. You have #1 small businesses and businesses leaving the country. You're the hardest place and the worst place to start a small business. Literally, I mean it's like $850 a year. Other states it's free or like $100 at most. We're leading in. I don't know if we're top 3 maybe in homelessness. San Francisco and LA, like there's a lot of homeless people. So why in the world would you be lobbying for people? And what really, really bothers me is they pretty much forcefully with media and we're like, yo, these people come. They've inspired a bunch of people for Honduras. And these people in Honduras, I can't speak for all of them, but a lot of them are not homeless. They're leaving because they want to come to the United States for a better life. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people do. My ancestors did. I'm sure your ancestors did. Came to the United States for a better life. But the media has hoaxed them into going to Tijuana, telling them that they're going to get in to seek asylum, but they're not really asylum seekers. A lot of them literally just want a better life in the United States. So the same people that cause max poverty in California, the same people who literally ignore cities of tents in Los Angeles and San Francisco are now creating a tent, humanitarian crisis in Tijuana. So they look at it and say, I'm the greatest, I'm trying to help women and children, I love people. But I look at it and think, you've already created tent cities and homelessness in our cities, and now you're creating it. I'm not convinced, just personally, I'm not convinced that at the high levels, these people are trying to turn the whole world into a tent city. You tank Los Angeles, you tank San Francisco, you live in the hills, you ignore the fact that there's trash and tents everywhere, and then you create a humanitarian crisis in Mexico, which already has, an undeclared humanitarian crisis of the highest murder rate in recorded history in Mexico. So Tijuana, the mayor said he's dishing out like $30,000 a day for these Caravan members that he didn't ask to come. It was mostly liberal media and mainstream media that hoaxed these people into coming, not because they had no homes. We already have homeless people who don't have homes. We have humanitarian crises in our own city. All I'm saying is I believe to change the world, you have to change yourself. And to help the world, you have to help yourself. And if you're a politician in California, your job is to help your own city, especially when your cities are leading in poverty, have terrible small business rates, homelessness galore, and it's growing and it's trash. Like my neighborhood has just gotten trashier and trashier over the past 2 years. But I see 0% of the politicians here talking about fixing that, and 100% of them are trying to lobby for more people to come here. We already have poverty. We already have black and Latino and white and Asian and Hispanic people living on the streets who aren't making ends meet. The price of everything's going up and our wages are stagnant and our taxes are raising and our health care is raising. So what does that tell me? I mean, they don't care about citizens. That's why a lot of Latino people, Hispanic people, over the age of 30 or 40, like most of them support Trump. I'm not saying all of them, but everyone I talk to, I'm like, does your dad or mom like Trump? Yeah. Well, it's because at a certain point, once you realize that you're getting scammed with health insurance, you realize who's stealing your money all the time and raising all the rates of stuff that you have to pay, it's not hard to figure out who's, ruining stuff. So just want to wrap it up. Yes, it's a humanitarian crisis. Yes, I really want to help. I'm compassionate and all those things, but I shame on the media, the same media that hoaxed a war in Libya, that turned Libya from Gaddafi's leadership into open slave markets. Literally, after Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton were done with Libya, there was slave trade and organ harvesting from an African society that maybe it wasn't perfect, it was a little violent, but they were actually doing stuff. And probably the reason that that happened is because Gaddafi was trying to change, the currency to a gold-backed standard instead of using petrodollar. Doesn't usually fly in the Middle East or Africa. Anytime they can't control your country, they try to invade it. So they did that in Libya. They did that in Syria. The news said, the rebels, we got to fund them. All of a sudden, terrorist organizations are running over Syria. So they caused a humanitarian crisis in Syria. This is what the news does. I'm not saying it's liberals. Sometimes Republicans get conned into it. Sometimes liberals get conned into it. It goes back and forth. But during the Obama administration, this happened. And those same people are the same people who are now causing a humanitarian crisis in Tijuana. The same people who cause humanitarian crises and ignore humanitarian crises or crises in California. So it's like, they think they're helping women and children, but in reality, they have tunnel vision and they just destroy everything they touch. Whether it's Syria, Libya, Mexico, or California, everything they touch gets destroyed and turns into a tent city or an open-air slave market factory. And I'm personally not convinced with all the evidence I've seen, and I'm excited to debate it with somebody who doesn't agree with me later, because I'm always up for that. But I'm not convinced they're not trying to turn the whole world into a homeless factory, because everywhere they touch, it just trashes everything. So that's my thought on the Caravan. Much love to all the people there and the people in Tijuana who have to suffer because the news con people into camping out there. The second story of the day, I really want you guys to hear this because